Thank you so much, Radha, and I hope you can all hear me. It's an honor to be here. And as I was preparing to my remarks today, I was very mindful that I'll have listened to Professor Kebudha. It's always an honor to hear him speak, knowing that he was one of the agitators for the constitution that we are seeking, we are still struggling or fighting to implement. And I am appreciative of all the presentations that have gone before. So I had three main reflections, and then I'll speak to what Muratha has asked me to speak to. One is from a civil society perspective, we are struggling somewhat to build constituencies for the defense of devolution. As Muratha has pointed out, the judiciary has been a bulwark in the defense of devolution, because we have an administration that has really been, as you can see from the data, in terms of sharing resources, in terms of transferring functions, we have an administration that has been very resistant to the implementation of devolution. Giving away power is never easy, and devolution is about power, transferring that power from the national to the county level, and from the county level to decentralize it further. So the administration has been very resistant, and the judiciary has been key in the protection of devolution through critical litigation cases. Very important precedents have been set to defend the health sector, to defend the division of revenue, and other landmark cases. Of course, the judiciary has paid quite considerably for this through a reduction of funding to the judiciary. There's been very strong attacks on the judiciary, operationalization, or rather in weaponization of the war against corruption targeted at specific judges. So I think much as we've had very good things, we must not forget we are still in a war, in a fight for the democratization of this country, democratization of our economic systems, so that resources are shared equitably. For instance, the equalization grant has not been operationalized. These funds that are supposed to go to the county level in this particular year have not been shared because there continue to be disputes, administrative issues are raised as a pretext for sharing this money. There's also been a withholding of resources by the national government through what is called national interest or national projects that have eaten up a lot of the money, driven the country into heavy debt, and because debt repayments are a fast charge on the budget, on the consolidated fund, then it means that there is less money to be shared. On the other hand, county governments, they themselves, as you can see from the own source revenue, have not been accountable with the own source revenue. So we have own source revenue, a lot of pocketing of money at the local level, which is outright theft, actually. No, they say don't use the word corruption, use theft. So devolution is under attack from the national government that doesn't want to transfer powers because of the benefits it has in holding on to these resources. And so you have what we had from the CEO and from the CRA, too much money being held at the service mandates have gone to the local level, but the resources have remained at the national level. And in fact, the wage bill of the national government has been expanding over the years as functions go to the local level. So, to a point where we really have a very unsustainable but economic situation, very high recurrent expenditure, constantly in violation of the law, both at national and county level. So what we looked at this with a study we undertook, supported by Danida, looking at civil society initiatives in terms of building a culture of social accountability, effectiveness of citizens to monitor budgets, engage in local governance, local county level programs and activities. And we found that one of the major disconnects that we have is philosophical. It's philosophical in terms of ownership by citizens of devolution and their role to hold government account. It's a philosophical barrier in terms of our political leaders to understand that power has shifted and that they have a responsibility to deliver socioeconomic rights. So this disconnect is one of the, we were looking at, our study was looking at how do we strengthen social accountability, citizen engagement in local governance. And we found we have to go back to the foundations and recognize that our education system does not ground us in human rights, does not ground us in socioeconomic and social justice. These concepts are quite alien to us. We've also implemented devolution and public participation from a very utilitarian point of view, looking at tools, looking at processes and saying, if we build capacity, people will engage. But without the philosophical grounding, we believe this is not possible. And so our call actually was to the funding institutions, to civil society institutions, let us go back and let us ground our engagement in human rights, in social justice, in the social contract, so that citizens can really own the democratic transformation that the Constitution portends and hopes to bring to us. The second point that we found is that citizens get very discouraged when they engage and they don't have commensurate response. So the culture of non-enforcement, due to the failure of horizontal oversight, the non-responsiveness by government, has then created a culture of apathy in citizens. And we need to deal with this. And reading the report of on state capture, published by AFRICOG, where Maina Washira suggests that democratic processes can undo state capture. So he says the problem with the capture of the state, and it's also the capture of PFM systems, where you have at county level, a whole budget process where ultimately the decisions that see the light of day are those of the governor and private interests. And this is also the case at the national level, where you have tokenistic public participation processes that have not been able to unearth or interrupt or disrupt the private interests around the budget process. So corruption continues and undermines this public participation. So rather than give up on democratic processes, Maina Washira encourages us to continue with democratic processes, saying that they can undermine state capture by exploiting the inability of the state to provide material benefits to key constituencies as a basis for harnessing collective action. So we need to harness collective action by using opportunities created in the Constitution, especially localized participatory governance, as exemplified in Makueni, as a demonstrative effect, by showing citizens democracy can work through demonstrative effects, even where citizens are very discouraged because of the abject failures of local governance in their particular counties. Civil society organizations are encouraged to generate evidence and records to support future prosecutions. So really encouraging civil society to continue on using PIL, and where the particular context makes it difficult to collect the evidence, knowing that you'll be able to prosecute that particular governor, that particular leader, once they leave office. And leveraging, also pursuing foreign indictments where need be, because some of these violations, financial violations, are cross-boundary, or even these human rights are entrenched in legal frameworks that Kenya has acceded to, international legal frameworks that Kenya has acceded to. So the third and final point, and yes, Muratha, I see you, is that public participation is made difficult because of operational gaps in the implementation of devolution. The lack of effective decentralization, the failure to operationalize local governance structures as has happened in Makueni. This has not happened in fact, Makueni, unfortunately, is an outlier. So, giving force to public health committees, making sure licensing boards and local land boards are operational and accountable, making sure you have revenue oversight committees at the local level, making sure that the powers at the county level are decentralized to the local level, to the sub-county and to the ward level. So we need to begin monitoring these structures that have been set up to make sure the power truly shifts to the local level. Thank you very much.